Hello beautiful soul, and welcome to another video from me. I'm Lucy and I'm really grateful to have you here on my channel. So I wanted to just share basically completely unfiltered and unplanned video based on the recent challenge that I ran throughout January, the 4 Bodies challenge, which you may have got involved with. You might still be working through it. And just share my experience of this challenge, because this was a challenge for me as well. Showing up every single day to post on social media, to create content, to film videos is something that can be challenging, and it can present challenges, and it's that feeling of showing up every single day no matter how you're feeling, and how that worked out for me, and the lessons that I learned and the insights that I have that I would like to share with you. So firstly, I did not show up every single day. This was the intention, but with everything, I don't like to force, I don't like to put a lot of pressure on myself if it's not feeling good. It's so important to me to feel good about what I'm doing. And sometimes I think if we become too rigid in the plans that we make, we don't give ourselves room to honour how we're feeling, especially as women. I think I said this in one of the videos before, we actually have very different things going on day to day as we move through our cycles and our hormones are changing, and it's okay to honour that. And there were days when I didn't feel like showing up, but I pushed through that barrier and then I felt amazing. There were days when it just wasn't possible for me to show up, or I could have forced it, but the content wouldn't have been, for me, something that I particularly felt good about or wanted to share. It's actually okay to show up and be imperfect. It's okay to show up and share content that isn't amazing or that you don't feel that amazing about. I have posted videos on YouTube in the past that I've not felt that good about, and then they've got like 14,000 plus views, and this has been content that I've been like, I'm not so happy about this, you know, it's not some of my best work. So there are pros and cons to this. Like, you can show up in any energy and you can have successful results. So even though I believe in energy first and energy being important, I actually also believe that it's okay to show up being imperfect, and it's okay to show up feeling anxious or low energy, or just to not show up as your best self. Like, it's important to show up as all these versions of yourself, but it's also important to not be hard on yourself if you don't show up, because life happens. And for me, I definitely try to go with the flow and trust that it isn't about quantity, it's about quality, and it's about sharing the right message. And I trust, this is another thing I think that came up for me, is that I trust the decisions that I make. If you're going to make a decision to not do something or to do something, you got to get fully behind it and trust it in that moment. As soon as you make the choice, trust yourself, because this is a powerful energy, and then you know that whatever direction you're going in, it's leading you in some way, even if it doesn't feel like it, towards what you want, and it could be through a lesson that you need to learn. I'm a strong believer that things can show up for us and they're unwanted and they don't feel good, or, you know, maybe we don't show up how we wanted to on a particular day and we reflect on it and we wish that we had showed up differently. But I'm a strong believer that this is still exactly where we're supposed to be, and that is still exactly how we were supposed to act, because there's a lesson to be learned. So maybe there's a lesson for me in this, in that if I truly want to show up every single day, I have to put some different things in place. And this is just something that I can reflect on and think about from a place of compassion and love for myself, without going, you should have showed up every single day, you failed, you're wrong, you're bad, you're all these negative things. And then this is not the kind of thing that you feed yourself with that is going to make you show up better, or be more successful in any area of your life. So the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we talk to ourselves and the compassion that we have for ourselves is so important in moving us in the direction that we want to go in, because it's affecting our self-worth. And ultimately, I think this comes down to something that has come up recently for me, and it's come up with my clients. It's like a bit of a theme that's come up in a lot of my calls. It's this feeling or this energy of being unapologetic, and that does not mean that we just go around like doing what we want and then not apologizing if we do something wrong, but we over apologize in general. We apologize for every little thing, and this comes down to wanting to be perfect all the time and feeling like if we're not perfect all the time, or if we're not perfect in the way that we have decided is perfect, because this is completely subjective and it doesn't really exist. Perfection doesn't really exist. So it's kind of something that you can keep striving for and you're not going to get there. Like, you can strive to have like things that are good quality, but when you're trying to always be perfect, you're going to fall and then you're going to feel bad about yourself, because we're human and we're messy and we're chaotic sometimes, and things don't always go to plan. We don't always show up how we want to show up, and that's completely okay. I think we really need to stop apologizing for being human and for all of these little things that we think matter that don't matter. This can show up in like such small details. If you are wearing an outfit which you feel is maybe a little bit too relaxed and you've just kind of nipped out the house and you didn't want anyone to see you, and then somebody sees you and you feel that need to be like, I'm sorry, like I look a mess, I'm sorry. Like, why are we apologizing for things like this? Why are we not just owning it? Because as soon as we're apologizing for just our existence and our humanness and for not being perfect all the time, we are devaluing ourselves, we are making ourselves less worthy, we are making ourselves guilty and bad and shaming ourselves for just really silly little insignificant things. And I think we need to stop shaming ourselves and be unapologetic about who we are and how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to show up, even if that's not perfect, if it's not what someone else is doing, if it's not how we planned it to be. We can't use this as an excuse to keep showing up in a way that is less than how we see our potential, right? So there's a few ways to look at this, and we can use this as an excuse as well, you know, oh, that's just the way I am, and then never change. So this is just an awareness to have as well. But we can also get really bogged down and heavy with all of this stuff that we think we need to apologize for, and a lot of it is just humanness. So bringing this back to the challenge, I'm not going to shame myself for not showing up every single day, because actually the content that I showed up and shared was really, really valuable, and I know that so many people got so much out of it, and it was enough. Like, you don't actually necessarily need to be consuming this new information every single day, because you can have time to implement it. The way that I see this is that I can look at this experience and be kind and compassionate towards myself, to be unapologetic because I showed up and I shared some really valuable and amazing content, and why would I apologize for that? And also think, did I really want to show up every single day? Was this in my best interest? Was it in the best interest of people that were joining the challenge or subscribed to YouTube? Is there a better way to do things? If I did think that, yeah, I would actually quite like to have the discipline, no matter what is going on in my life, to do this, then I can explore that and play with it, and I can find ways to make that work. But I think we need to look at these things where maybe we want to show up differently or do things a little bit differently in a mindset of exploration and, okay, let me see what I can do here, if this is actually what I want to do, and get behind it, but own the stuff that you're doing anyway. Own it. Own what you've already done. Own how you're already showing up. Stop apologizing for it. And if you want to do it differently, take a look at that with compassion, with love, with understanding, and be light about it. We get too heavy. We get way too heavy about this stuff. Having a positive viewpoint is always going to help to move you in a better direction, or in the direction of what you want. So that was quite a long reflection on just one part. So I think the other thing that I've learned from running this challenge is that I have so much that I want to share, and so much inspiration, and actually when I share it, when I put it out there, I get more inspiration and it feels really good. And I've received really good feedback, and I've started just getting more recognition from people who are being helped through my content, and that just feels really good, because that's why I do it, honestly, the main reason. And obviously I have personal reasons, but it wouldn't feel good to be constantly sharing if it wasn't helpful to people. And when you receive that feedback, it's just an amazing feeling. And so yeah, I've learned that I have a lot to share and I want to keep sharing, and I will. And so with that in mind, I'm going to challenge myself to keep showing up every other day, because that seemed to be the rhythm that I got into with the challenge. Is like, because there's also a lot of kind of admin and editing, and things can be slow in Bali, which is another thing that I have to consider, right? Like downloading from the editor, uploading to YouTube. This stuff can take time. So every other day feels like an aligned kind of goal for me for sharing, like it. So I'm putting that out. So I'm putting it out there. But I'd love to know like how you found the challenge, if you're still going through it, what you learnt from it, and what stuff you'd like me to share more of. Would you like more yoga videos, more meditations? Would you like more kind of just me sharing my thoughts and practices that have helped me, journaling, like all of it? I've got so much to give, and I'm here for it. So please let me know. And I hope you enjoy watching this raw, honest video, completely unplanned. But sometimes this is when you get the golds, or the little nuggets of wisdom. So I hope there's been some wisdom in this video for you. And I will be sharing another video very soon. And I thank you so much for being here. And if you resonate with me, if you enjoy any of my content and you haven't yet subscribed, please do, because it means so much to me. It lets me know that you get me and you resonate with me. And that is just all the inspiration that I need to keep creating and to keep sharing. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, sending you so much love. Have a wonderful rest of your day.